Hey everyone. Um, where to start? I want to touch on a number of things in this video. I want to reply to a contest, but first and foremost, above all things, I would like to, from the bottom of my heart, thank everybody who wrote a comment on the video that I made for Sarah, my sadly departed soulmate. And just know that I will not be replying to all of those comments. There's over 150 comments. And plus, what do you say? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I really mean it. But I'm not going to write a comment there myself. I feel that this video that I'm doing is answering this. I read every single comment and I keep reading them as they arrive, and I am very, very touched by the wave of emotional support, which I wasn't really expecting at all. I thought the idea behind the video was more, I sort of need to talk. I still need to talk. I talk to my wife all the time. She's not here with me physically, but a spirit is here with me. So it was more sort of, it's part of this cathartic experience. You lose someone so important, it's difficult to not talk about it. Or maybe some people are able not to talk about it and get on with it. But in any case, it was great to talk about it. It was great to talk about Sarah's love for music, because she was obviously a music lover and she had great taste, and to pay tribute to her. So thank you for writing all those comments. Thank you to Derek and John Coltrane 68, Chris Cole, for making those beautiful videos. If you've made a tribute video and I haven't seen it, please do say, because I might have missed it altogether. The second thing I want to talk about is the idea of doing a live stream. I see people doing them all the time, and they sound like fun, and we could just interact directly. I'm just open to doing that, showing some records that I've been enjoying in the past 6 months. Just talking generally about, whatever you want to talk about. So I was thinking maybe doing one on Saturday, the 2nd of June, next Saturday. Today is Sunday, the 27th of May. So next Saturday is the 2nd of June. I'm thinking of doing one at 10 p.m. Melbourne, which would correspond to about 1 or 2 p.m. in Europe, and about 7 or 8 p.m. in America. Just to give you, I've done a little table which I'll put on the video from the World Time Converted website. So if you're into it, just join in, and I'll be happy to show you some records and just just talk crap. I want to see if I can make it work. And the third thing I want to talk about, last but not least, because I want to still show some records. It's a video. It's a VC video. I need to show some records. I want to have a bit of chai. I would like to reply to Jonas Sublimmedia is contest, because it's a cool contest, and And you know, I don't want to show you too many records. I will show you a handful of records. And the idea behind the contest was to show sort of like valuable records, or rare and expensive records. Not to brag, but it's not a bragging video. I mean, please. And just on Jonas first. I mean, everybody does a video, a response video for a contest like this. Always acknowledges the owner of the thread, and Jonas. I consider Jonas as a good friend, a good online friend. I've never met Jonas for real. I have met quite a few VC members, but not Jonas. Maybe one day, who knows? I've never visited Scandinavia. Sarah had been to Scandinavia before I met her, and I always was kind of a little bit jealous of the fact that she'd been. So maybe I will, maybe I will come to Scandinavia, do Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and stop in wherever you are, Jonas. I forget the name of your town. I know you've sent me packages and I can picture in my head, but I forget the name of your town. Anyway, you were a fantastic, wonderful VC member. You've been sharing videos for the past, 6-7 years. I don't know. I've been doing this for, I think, about 8 years or something. And you were there at the start, so yes, a long time ago. Love your videos, love your enthusiastic take on Swedish prog jazz. You've got a cool record collection, what can I say? So, tribute to you. I'm going to show you a handful of valuable records, and they're all Australian records. Because I live here in Melbourne, and they're all sort of jazzy, funky records. And I don't want to just talk about 25 records in a row. It's just not. I'm not in the frame of mind for that at the moment. So just show you a handful of records. And what I'm playing at the moment is not a rare and valuable record, but it's an Australian jazz record. I picked this up yesterday. WVRBVBY. I don't know what the name of the band is actually, but this is a brand new release on the Plug 7 label, which Plug 7 is a record store in Collingwood in Melbourne. And this is possibly is their first released, was recorded at the Plug 7 studio. And so I'm playing it for the first time, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's sort of spiritual jazz, but made last year, so it's cool. So just to get us started, I want to show you 7. I think I was 7 records there. So where do I start? Okay, well, let's start with a classic. This is Carlton Street by the Brian Brown Quintets, released in 1975 on 44 Records. I've talked about this record many times. In fact, it is probably due to my incessant talking of this record that a lot of people have been chasing this. What is this? It's a sort of a Herbie Hancock electric periods. What was it called? What was his extra period called? I was going to say Mahavishnu. It's not Mahavishnu. Mondishi. That's right. Was that Mahavishnu? No, Mondishi. So it's kind of like a sort of Mondishi period Herbie Hancock record. Brian Ran, huge name on the Australian jazz scene, and just an amazing, Brian Ran plays sax, flute, whistles. So there's electric keyboard on this, acoustic bass, drums, spoken words. This is a flat out masterpiece. I mean, I don't think records get any better than this in Australia. I mean, of that period. So I've had 2 copies of this. The first one I found for free at my school. I'm a teacher. I work at a school, and the music department was getting rid of boxes of old records, and it was in there. Nobody wanted it, and I didn't know it at the time when I picked up the record. But when I opened the record and I checked the list of musicians, I thought, this is a jazz record. As soon as I put it on the turntable at home, my mind was suitably blown. And then I managed to buy another copy online for $15, which I think this is the $15 copy. And I gave my free one to Chris 4127 Basket as a VCLT. This is probably worth about $150 now, this record, I'd say, round about that. Similarly, in a similar kind of vein, here is a quite pricey record, the Carl Nolan Soul Syndicate live adjacent, very funky record. Lots of like a really groovy, funky organ, tight drums. Really, it's got a couple of killer singles. What's the Use? And what's the other song? I don't know. I can't remember. I haven't played this for a while, obviously. It's a very funky record, anyway. I was thinking, what's the other song called? But I'm thinking of this one of the singles that they put out as well as a really funky song as well. But this is funky throughout. Great record. This would probably set you back, I don't know, another $100 maybe, or maybe more. I don't know. I haven't checked this. Really haven't checked this. I paid $40 for this at the time. So, but it's worth probably a lot more. Was released in and around 1970. I don't even know either. Look it up. I'm not in the mood. My information is all crappy. Pyramid. Pyramid is another jazz funk band with lots more synths. As opposed to sort of electric keyboards, we're talking about as opposed to electric piano, Fender Rhodes. This one's got a lot of sort of synth sounds, and there's a couple of killer tracks. Song for Bobby, the first song, and City of Stone is a pretty funky song too. It's on East Records, and you still see this in Melbourne for about $100 as well. This I paid a bit more for, I think 50 maybe at the time, but it's a great record. It's just, it's a funky Aussie piece, which is not hard to find, but it's always expensive when you find it. From 1977, I think. If I'm right, no, hang on, no, no, it's not, because it said it was recorded in 1980. So 1980. Sorry, I thought it was more late 70s. Anyway, there you go. Shows you that I know nothing. I'll finish off with the most expensive record in the end. The Judy Bailey Quartet Colors. Judy Bailey was is or was, I don't know if she's still alive. I believe she's still alive. A pianist, keyboard player from New Zealand, but this record is rather an Australian jazz funk record. Very funky as well. I got this record in my local record store in mint condition. I can show you, it's still in mint condition. I'll just take it out of the sleeve. Right, so this has got, what has it got? Electric piano, clavinet, sax, flute, electric bass, drums. Yeah, very funky record. This is the inside of it. This is in mint condition. Really, there's no, like, it's flawless. I got this for $12 at my local record store because, I mean, it looks like nothing. I mean, you know, you look at this and just go, well, it doesn't look that attractive or appealing. It's sort of, and I don't think they knew what it was. I didn't protest. I paid the $12. This is easily 10 times worth the value. Okay, easily. This is easily a $120 record, you know, and it's a wonderful record. Wonderful, wonderful record. I mean, Toledo, the second song, rips, absolutely rips. Then this is also another cheap record. A band called Quasar. The record is called Man Coda. Trio. This is from 1981 on the Asia label. The Asia label was Brian Brown. Talk about Brian Brown. It was his label. In fact, the liner notes are written by Brian Brown. This is like Australian King Crimson, if you like, to give you, if you like Red by King Crimson, there's a lot of that spirit in there. Really sort of jazzy noodling, progressive, jazzy. You know, very cool. Try the title track, Man Coda is a great song, and the opener, Reality's Way, is great too. And this is a record that I think I paid full price for when I paid for it. I think I did spend $100 on this, and it's, you know, I don't think it has decreased in value. Here is a great little compilation, Jazz Australia. It's got 4 artists on this. Well, actually, it says there. Dan Burrows, Judy Bailey. We've talked about Judy Bailey. We've talked about Bernie McGann and Johnny Sangster, all mainstays of the Australian jazz scene. And the 4 compositions are really, really happening. It's a great example of the kind of jazz that was made in Australia in the 60s, 70s. When was this come? I think this is from the 60s. Pretty almost certain. And this will set you back a pretty penny as well. It's not a cheap record to buy. So I don't know what it's worth these days, but. And then the pièce de résistance here, is a record without a cover. It's a blank record. No. Okay, what's a little story about this? This is, I'll just pretty close. This is Joyce Hurley. Joyce on 44 Records. Story is that this is one of the rarest Australian jazz soul records. Joyce Hurley, she was an Afro-American singer. She came to Australia. She made the one record with 44 Records, and they made very few copies of it. I found this one here in my local charity shop down the road here. It didn't have a cover when I found it. It was just the record. So of course I bought it because you don't live there. But it's in mint condition. I mean, it's not in mint condition, but it's in VG+++. It's really quite a beautiful copy of it, and it plays really great. And then a few years later, probably 4 years later, I was digging with Campo and James Buttery and Cham Sound and Christian Mizzy, 705. And I found in a sort of another charity place another copy of it with the cover. in mint condition, and I sold it on Discogs for $350. I sold it to a guy in Germany. It took a day to sell, 1 day, and 1 day it was sold. So I sold it because I thought, well, you know, I've got 2 copies of it. Nobody's going to buy a one with a sleeve. I don't mind not having the sleeve. I can listen to it, and I can buy myself some other cool records, which I did. So it was a win for all. All right, I'll stop here. I might see you next Saturday, 2nd of June, 10 p.m. Melbourne. If you want, join me. Thank you for your kind, compassionate messages. I love you all. Goodbye.